Hello, my name is Madison Milligan. Unfortunately, to report that I am not British, though I do appreciate the compliment that comes with you thinking that I am. Today, I am doing my report on Paula Vogel, the wonderful and talented and amazing playwright that she is. If you were to see Paula Vogel today, she is 74 years old and married to Anne Sterling, a professor at Brown University in gender studies, and together they are living in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. She didn't always live in Wellfleet, Massachusetts. However, she was originally from the Washington, D.C. area, and it was here that she went to high school and accidentally walked into a rehearsal of the play Skin of Our Teeth by Thornton Wilder. And from there, she says, is when she originally got addicted to the theater. She went on later to attend the Catholic University and Cornell University, receiving her bachelor's degree from the Catholic University and her master's degree and doctorate from Cornell University, as well as using her Pulitzer and Tony Award winning play, The Incident, as her dissertation. She has also spent many years teaching as well as playwriting at Brown University and Yale, and has had 5 students go on to win Pulitzer Prizes. Paula has won many awards throughout her career. She has been noted as saying from John Simon, Paula has more awards than a black couch has lint. Her plays have been produced by Second Stage, the Vineyard Theater, and the Goodman Theater here in Chicago, and many more. They've also been produced overseas in England by the Harrogate Theater, the Minor Chocolate Factory, and the Donmar Theater. Not only have they been produced across many stages throughout America and the UK, but they have also been produced in English countries like Canada, Great Britain, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand, as well as translated into many other languages such as Italian, German, and Taiwanese. She herself has also founded the Paula Vogel's Bard of the Gate in 2020. This is a curated list that she considers to be for overlooked playwrights that include people of BIPOC, female, LGBTQIA+, and the disabled artists. They send in their playwrights, and Paula herself reads over them and decides which one she thinks should go into her curated list for other producers to find and put on. Paula herself has won many awards, including the Pulitzer Prize for Drama, the American Theater Hall of Fame, and the coveted Tony Award. She has also been honored with awards in her name, including the Paula Vogel Award for Playwrights, given by the Vineyard Theater, and the Paula Vogel Award given by the American College Theater Festival. To review some of her plays, she has recently had a new play come out, written in 2024, and just recently finished up its Broadway run, called The Mother Play. Variety considered it an engaging examination of family trying to find equilibrium. The critic also considered it honoring to those who have struggled in motherhood themselves. However, this person did unfortunately have some critiques about it, saying that because of the time period, it was a predictable outcome, as well as the predictableness of it loses some of the emotional pressure for the audience. The Berkshire Edge over in England also saw the play. They claimed it is not for those under 14 because it is such an emotional impact that it has left many himself and the rest of the audience in tears. But he does applaud it for being brave and honest, even though the message is not something he believes that the audience was ready to hear. He commends them for putting it on anyways. For the New York Times, Alexis Skolaski considered the piece to be antic and mournful, and also relatable to those who have struggled with internal family affairs. She has also decided that the takeaway from the play is that you can love someone without forgiving them, and that love is preferable to the alternatives. So where does Paula Vogel's inspiration come from? Well, like Alexis Skolaski said in her New York Times article from the previous page, she is best at rearranging the emotional furniture of her lived experiences into tragicomedies. I personally admire Paula Vogel's ability to write about grief and forgiveness because they are two things that go hand in hand, though they are not things that are easily done and accepted by others. 2 plays that I believe exemplify this message is How I Learned to Drive, that we talked about in class, the idea of Paula herself unfortunately struggling with an abusive situation, a sexually abusive situation with her uncle, and how she managed to put that in a play and later move on and forgive her younger self. We see this through 3 examples. A moment in the play when Little Bit talks to her mother and her grandmother about what it's like to have sex for the first time as a woman. Her mother tries to be straightforward with her and give her all the answers that she needs, while her grandmother thinks that it is more of a taboo topic that shouldn't be discussed with somebody as young as Little Bit was. We also see this in the moment when she is telling her uncle off right after she's gone to college. He comes to visit her, and she's finally free from the enablement of her uncle as well as the abuse circle that she's in, and she's able to finally come to terms with what was happening to her was wrong. And from there, she grins the courage to tell him that she no longer wants to see him, despite seeing that internal conflict within herself of maybe I should stick around, but she ultimately decides what's best for her. Eventually, we do see that her uncle, because of this, drinks himself to death after falling down the stairs. And in the end of the play, as she gets into the driver's seat, she turns the rearview mirror to see her uncle behind her, and as he gives her a nod, she smiles and floors it. This can be seen as a way of Paula Vogel herself accepting what's happened to her, and instead of living in fear of it, growing to accept it and better herself in the future. Another play that is great for these examples of grief and forgiveness is The Baltimore Waltz, one of her first plays that she had written after the tragic passing of her brother due to the AIDS crisis. In the play, before the play even begins, I believe it's really important to point out that Paula has a letter from her brother that was given to her after his passing on how he would like his funeral to be conducted. He gives her a couple of choices, the first one being open casket, full drag. And that made me laugh, and I thought that it was really beautiful the way that she puts it in there, because we know Paula Vogel to be so wonderful in her ability to take tragedy and turn it into comedy, and it's nice to see that it runs in the family. That idea of we have to be so full of grief in moments like this, when actually sometimes a laugh can be the best cure for a broken heart. Going into the play, Anna, the character, experiences the stages of grief through part 14. Eventually, it gets to the point where she has accepted the fact that she is probably going to die due to her illness, and she holds her brother's hand as tight as she can and says that if there are memories beyond the grave, that she wants this to be the last thing that she remembers. However, come part 29 and 30, we see that the scenario of them trekking through England and Europe is actually fake. A scenario that was made up by her brother and Anna, as her brother unfortunately passes in the hospital due to actually having AIDS. And this is actually based on Paula's real life. Before she was her brother's keeper, before he unfortunately was becoming too sick to move around, they wanted to take a road trip through Europe, and she did not have the time or money to do that, and that's something that she says that she regrets wholeheartedly. However, as Anna loses her brother to the final acts of the play, we see them both waltz off stage together. Again, a reminder that just because the tragedy happens doesn't mean that life doesn't go on. As far as historical context, Paula Vogel is known for being a wonderful teacher and has taught many influential playwriters of today, and she is praised by all of them. Paula herself has changed many young playwrights' lives, as well as inspired me. One playwright, Akira Allegra Hudes, is a Pulitzer Prize winner, best known for her play In the Heights. She quoted Paula as being, one of the first things she said the first day I met her was, when a door opens for you, you hold it open and you let one other person through, in regards to the fact that Paula always feels that she wanted her pupils to go on to be on Broadway before she did. Another playwright, Sarah Ruhl, a MacArthur Grant winner for her play Eurydice, said that Paula really understood how grief shapes an artist, and so also how to help artists out of that muddle and into their work. When Sarah met Paula, she reclaims how she had just lost her father, and unfortunately she thought she would never write again, much like Paula felt when she was writing The Baltimore Waltz. It was Paula that helped her out of this struggle and helped put her pen to paper. And from it, she wrote Eurydice, in which the character travels to Hades and actually meets with her passed away father, giving Sarah herself a sense of closure. Another playwright, Lynn Nottage, a 2-time Pulitzer Prize winner for her productions of Ruin and Sweat, has also quoted Paula as being a badass. She also does have that side that demands to be heard and demands to be seen, and that is an advocate and fighter for other writers and voices. Lynn has said that when she first met Paula, she was just going into college to be a journalist because she didn't know that being a playwright was even a career path that a woman could have until she had met Paula. They later became good friends, and Paula even officiated at her wedding. I think it's important to point out that Paula Vogel, even today, has inspired so many people. I did not know who Paula was until this project and until this class, and just doing this research on her has inspired me enough to go back into looking into theater and seeing what might be out there for me. And I think that she has inspired so many other people in the past, and because of her, theater will never be the same. Thank you.